This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
At Blinds.com, it's not just about window treatments. It's about you, your style, your space, your way. Whether you DIY or want the pros to handle it all, you'll have the confidence of knowing it's done right. From free expert design help to our 100% satisfaction guarantee, everything we do is made to fit your life and your windows. Because at Blinds.com, the only thing we treat better than windows is you. Black Friday deals are going on all month long. Save up to 45% off site-wide plus an additional 10% off every order right now at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions apply.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nerding Out on Neurodiversity, the podcast for all things neurodivergence. I'm Dr. Matt Zakreski, clinical psychologist and professional speaker, and I'm happy to be your host through the wild trails of the neurodivergent world.
And I'm Jake Noonan, educational coach and humanities teacher, your co-host and producer, and I'm thrilled to help share the stories and the experiences of wonderful people in the world of neurodiversity.
We're really excited for today's guest, which we are going to say a lot because we're always really excited about every guest we get. So let's get into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Nerding Out on See, this is why we do because words are hard.
They're so hard.
So hard. I just want to be like the guys from Stomp and just make sounds and have that be my play. All right. Take two. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Nerding Out on Neurodiversity. I'm your host, Dr. Matt Zakreski, clinical psychologist, professional speaker, published author, wearer of many hats. And with me, as always, is the Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson, Mr. Jake Noonan. Say hi, Jake.
Hey, everybody. Great to be here as always. And Dr. Matt, I have to point out your published author went from second last time to third this time.
Well, that assumes that we're going to publish these in order, and that's fine. And it's also adorable that you think that I have a script up here that I am actually following. You know, when the sounds come out of the brain thing and they come out of the mouth, it's great. It's fine. It's fabulous.
Yeah, the words, the stuff.
The words and the stuff. Is it too late to change the name of the podcast to Words and Stuff with Dr. Matt and Jake? And we have here with us a really exciting guest, someone who, in like the weird like spinning of the universe, our paths crossed many years ago, and now we are back here in this space together. So, Claire, would you like to introduce yourself?
I would love to. Thanks for having me. So, hi, my name is Claire Sabatine. I am a Pittsburgh-based actor, educator, producer, teaching artist. I relate to your many hat-wearing comment, Dr. Matt, and communication coach now with my new company, Powerplay, which is how we rekindled our conversation.
Absolutely. I'm going to geek out on Claire for a second here. So 2 years ago, we collaborated on a sensory-friendly production of the play Up and Away, and that was done at the Rose Theater in Omaha. And one of my college professors, Cindy, was directing the show, and she posted out on Facebook like, does anybody know anything about neurodivergence in theater? I was like, I am a person who knows those things. And what started as a half-hour chat with Cindy turned into, I think we did 2, maybe 3 hours of like Q&A with the cast. And I mean, you guys were just the most gracious, humble, vulnerable group. Like just the amount of questions, the kinds of questions. I mean, it really felt like just such like a deep bonding moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then I, hung up the Zoom call. I'm like, that was great. They're going to put on a good show. And then Matt texted me. He's like, oh, by the way, we're flying you out for the show. I was like, say what? So flash forward several weeks, and I am on a wildly delayed flight to Omaha, where I had to fly to Kansas City and rent a car. Always fun. but I got to see you guys do rehearsal. I got to see a show. I cried, you cried, everybody cried. It was lots of crying was involved, but it was so much the genesis of like what really good theater can look like for people who are neurodivergent who need those accommodations to engage in the theater, which has traditionally not been a very welcoming place for people with sensory needs.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, you're speaking to a production that was in the very niche but necessary and powerful genre of sensory theater, which is something that is unique to, say, a sensory friendly production you may think of that you see in your town or community, where you're taking a piece of content that already exists and then adapting the elements, usually spectacle, so that you are adapting it to be more sensory friendly for whatever population is in your community that that would serve. And sensory theater is created with and for neurodiverse groups so that, because who am I as a neurotypical individual and artist to create without my population right alongside me? And so I was brought in as a cast member for The Rose and ended up doing some trainings because of I have a lot of experience in this very niche thing, and I feel like that was special to the project. The Rose brought me in as a cast member, and I ended up doing some trainings because of that. And so Dr. Matt and I were the only folks, I want to say, not affiliated with Omaha, Nebraska, working on that, which is funny, Dr. Matt, because I met you in Nebraska. So I think of you affiliated in my brain with Nebraska, but you don't live there.
No, we can hold it down for the East Coast, right?
Nice. Yeah, for sure.
So nothing against Omaha. It's a lovely town. There's a surprising amount of things to do there. It's great.
That is true. I had a lovely experience both times I stayed there for rehearsal and production.
Yeah, it's got a lot of breweries. It's got the zoo.
Puffy Tacos. Shout out Taco Co. in Benson.
Yes.
It has a song, Counting Crows, Omaha.
Oh, it's like, did you just make a deep Counting Crows reference? Because
yeah, of course.
The baseball, college baseball World Series, that's there. This is rapidly turning into a travel log for
Visit Omaha.
Roll our first ever commercial for the podcast. Visit Omaha, Nebraska.
Right.
We should sell this. That would be great. So, like a lot of creative theatrical types, Claire, you said you wear many hats, and you pivoted into this new venture, which I just when I saw it, I was like, this is a thing we need to talk about. So, can you tell our listeners what it is you're doing now?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm trying to think where a good place to start is. I'll give a little context and then I'll transition into Powerplay. I think it'd be helpful. Thank you. So I knew from a young age that I wanted to pursue acting as a career, but I didn't really have a role model or a clear path on how to make that happen. I don't really have any artists in my life. So I just went to school for theater and also business. And then I also pursued some acting training in New York at a different conservatory style training because I wanted more deeper understanding. And then when I was in my business classes, I was like, wow, everyone could really benefit from taking an acting class. And then I started teaching acting and I graduated, and my version of pursuing acting instead of working, I did work in the food and beverage industry, like as a server and things like that. But my version of a quote unquote day job was to teach because I really wanted to find ways to make an impact and be passionate about what I was doing outside of in the gig economy when I was getting hired as an actor. So that just led me to see so many opportunities for folks in other industries to benefit from acting skills and training. And so fast forward all this time, I was making sensory theater with and for folks with developmental disabilities and in autism and life skills classrooms as a teaching artist, seeing how art can impact and uplift voices there in those spaces. And then I was doing all of these random freelance workshops where I was being hired by botanical gardens PhD students who were presenting their science, and I was teaching them how to be more confident in their speaking and grounded in their body and their voice, just like we do in acting training. And so as a thesis, I just believe that growth as an actor and growth as a human being are synonymous, which is a Stella Adler quote. She's a theater practitioner. And just what that means is by all the functional skills we do to study acting really help us in many facets of our life in a really powerful way. And so when I wrapped up tour for my latest sensory theater endeavor, I decided to pivot towards opening Powerplay, which I launched not too long ago. And that just is so that I can work with a new group of humans, which is sort of been manifesting in a more, business professional sense so far. Folks who are going to be working in client relations, who are working in sales, who have podcasts. And I just believe really a lot in the power of play, which to me just means being open to letting down some walls and connecting authentically as humans. Yeah. I hope that answered your question in a broad way and a specific way.
I mean, absolutely. And to take this idea even a step further, right? Because I absolutely agree with you. I mean, I think theater training makes whatever it is you do better. You're a better parent, you're a better business owner, you're a better teacher, you're a better marketing agent. It's just because theater is about authentic connection. Mm-hmm. From an acting perspective, what do you think drives authentic connection?
Oh, great question. Well, authenticity is a tricky one, right? Because you say be yourself, and like, what does that really mean? To me, let's get some shared vocabulary going. To me, authenticity means being able to let down any walls, fear of judgment, be really comfortable and grounded in your body and your voice, and connect with others in a truthful way. And I think acting training probably gets a bad rap, or it feels confusing. Like I've been finding the messaging can feel confusing at first when I'm educating people on what I'm doing currently, because you think, oh, an actor, so you're good at playing pretend in a sense of like you're lying, quote, air quotes, right? Like you're good at being fake. And it's actually, I've been doing some posts about like myth busting that, because actually when you study acting at a professional level, you realize that the best actors are the best truth tellers. You might see people in the media, like celebrities, when they're on like a press tour talking about, oh yeah, we, just speak the truth or find the truth in the rehearsal process or with my scene partner. And what they're talking about is, the way we study acting technique is rooted in truth. And all that means is being able to connect with another human being and react honestly to what they said to you, right? So active listening, adaptability, thinking on your feet, all of these skills. And that's, now all of a sudden it sounds like I'm saying buzzwords from LinkedIn. You know what I mean? So it all ties together.
I mean, for me, that was why I fell in love with improv. I mean, it's just being on that bleeding edge of like, I am co-creating something with you right now. This thing didn't exist 30 seconds ago. It's existing right now.
So beautiful.
Well, I mean, right. And, I'm terrible at memorizing lines. So it's good in both directions. But Cindy, who put on that production, when she and I were debriefing the show, she said, the thing I always respected about you is that you are always good with your own words. She's like, and I think you struggled to connect particularly with like Shakespeare, which is so prescribed, right? In that very particular way we do Shakespeare. She's like, but when you told me you were becoming a speaker and you had leaned into improv and stand-up, she's like, of course, because you were always about your own words. And I'm like, that's a cool thing. It's a cool thing to hear when you were telling me about what this new venture for you. I'm like, because this isn't about training some sales rep in some company to say Claire's words. Claire wants you to say this.
Wow.
To your own version. What's your authenticity that's going to drive the best version of the thing you're going to say? And I just was like, that is what this is all about. That is going to be a lot of people more connected and real and grounded with whatever it is they're trying to do.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to notice what the difference is, or, if I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm thinking about what's my competitive advantage, and it's like, well, like in all seriousness, it's really interesting to look at other people who label themselves as a communication coach or a public speaking professor or even a motivational speakers that give these big talks or have millions and millions of followers about how to improve public speaking. And a lot of it does seem to be this like broad strokes, one size fits all advice giving, which, you know, some of the tips that are being circulated out there, I understand why people are drawn to that. You know, I'm watching people talk online and people are taking notes so feverishly to get in all this insight. And it's a lot of it, though, is like, if you stand like this, you will be perceived like X. If you quote unquote make your voice louder, you know, then you will be perceived as Y. And what I'm hearing is, oh, there's some makings of acting training in there, but it's no one knows how to communicate it. And so I'm like, wait, I do. You know, but also at the same time, I'm noticing that people are saying out loud, oh, be authentic, be yourself, be confident, which is such a funny thing. Be confident. It's like, okay, now I'm more nervous, right? You know, they're saying these things, but it's actually someone putting on like a costume or a shell to be this version of a good public speaker, whatever that means, according to this rule book. And what I know from my own training and my own teaching, what makes a good actor is, as someone who's a good truth teller, right? We just established that vocabulary, is someone who is able to be at ease, connect authentically with others. And that starts in being grounded in your body and your voice. And then following your own natural impulses, because that is authentically you. And then with my director hat on, I can shape your own natural impulses to be, of course, not distracting, or, you know, you have to be seen and heard if you want to be speaking, right? So we need those functional skills. So that's the beauty of the performance lens that I'm bringing is, yes, I can teach you this toolkit, right? This functional skills, vocal clarity, articulation, all of those things, right? Like how to hold yourself in your body, physicality, gesture, all of that. But also, we can't utilize all those skills to their greatest capacity if you're not comfortable with yourself as a person. And so by no means I'm a theater artist and an educator and a business person who is wearing a communication coach hat. I'm not doing any sort of like life coaching or therapy to get people comfortable, right? But it is these like really unique activities, exercises, practices, routines, rituals that we can put into our practice as professionals to increase or enhance those skills. So I'm not giving people necessarily like advice on how to get comfortable in your body in a heady sense. It's more like getting in the body itself. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would even go so far as to say, I don't even know. I feel like there's an upper limit on the extent to which this can be taught didactically. I think you have to do it. You have to feel comfort and like navigate through it. Like, you know, I tell my clients all the time, it's like the only way out is through. You can't just intellectualize this. Like, when I'm in this situation and I'm stressed out and I'm sweating through my shirt and there's 6,000 people in this room and I have my mic shorts out, here's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, totally. That is so true. But isn't that funny that the thing that we're seeking advice for that makes us scared, it feels much more cozy and comfy to read about it and be like, okay, maybe that sunk in somewhere, right? But that's the whole point, is to overcome that fear. Yeah.
Well, and Jake, I've been nudging you, if we want to use the word nudge, somewhere between nudging and throwing you into the deep end on your speaking career. And I'm wondering how much of what Claire is saying is resonating with you, because you are like the most authentic person I know. So I'm like, I know you can do that stuff.
Wow.
Jake is always Jake, for better or for worse. And it's always better, which is why I hired him.
What a gift, though. What a gift. To be in the presence of other people who are authentic is like, as I get older, I only want to be around people who are their authentic selves. It is exhausting to otherwise, you know.
It's tiring to put up, like, in a sense, that mask otherwise.
Truly.
No, and like I completely agree. Like, first off, obviously, thank you, Dr. Matt. But like you're saying, it's a lot about just dropping the facade and like understanding, like, yeah, I'm putting on a hat a little bit here, but I'm still going to channel that authenticity, that like who I am. How can I take this hat and rather than be like, this is what it looks like, this is what it's supposed to be, and be like, how can I take the essence of that and make it more accessible to me, to my audience, to whoever I want to talk to, whatever I'm doing. And I think that's like really, really important to be able to show people and like teach them in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And like from that, Claire, I'm curious, like, what's the process like?
Sure.
Like if you meet with a theoretical client that you're talking with right now, let's say, and it's,
Yeah.
I need help.
Ask an actor what her process was? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
Process with working with a client.
It's both. It's the same, Dr. Matt. I just told you I'm using my process. Transferable skills to my clients. No, totally. Thanks for asking. So, okay. So we'll talk about like a one-to-one client, and then I'll talk about like a group if it's helpful as well. So with one-to-one, this is what I'm so grateful for from my work in, say, like an autism and life skills classroom as a teaching artist. I got so comfortable walking in as a facilitator and meeting a group of people where they are. Come as you are mentality as my like poster statement, whatever it's called, like wish I could just want to walk around with it on my forehead so that I can have people show up as their authentic selves and then meet them where they are with the curriculum. So that has really transferred into my one-to-one coaching style because I'm able to personalize what people need so they can implement skills and tools today. For example, if you're coming to me because you have a speaking event coming up, first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assess what your goals are for that, right? Like, where do you think you have areas for growth? What's going to make you excited to do the work? Because you need to be doing the work, right? I can give you the guidance and the tools, but you need to be excited about it and willing to do that because I can't, break through the Zoom screen or come to your house and say like, knock, knock, are you doing the work, right? So that's part of it as well, is making sure that people are feeling aligned with me and my work. And once we do that, we can start with functional skills. I'll make sure you have an understanding about how to use your body and your voice from a theater practitioner's perspective, right? So it's like, okay, diaphragmatic breathing helps you support how you speak. And here's some tools and tips to have better diction and articulation and vocal clarity. And here's how you can use your breath to sustain your speaking. And managing performance anxiety using breath. Really, if you just breathe, you don't even need to hire me. So once those functional skills, right? And then I'll give, how to like get loose and feel grounded in your body. Like I call it like a neutral actor body, like a stance that's we have a sense of readiness, ease, releasing tension, things like that. And once all of that's out of the way and you have a sort of like physical and vocal warm up that you can implement into your own practice, as extensive or as brief as you need it to be, then we can do work that has to do with a variety of things, really. Like if we're talking about people who are saying, oh, well, I have all these thoughts in my head, and no matter how much I prepare, I can't articulate my words like it doesn't come out the way I want it to. I can't, or say I'm in a meeting and a lot of people are talking, like I have ideas to contribute, but I can't get them out the way I want to. I view that as a mind-body connection opportunity, strengthening your mind-body connection. What that means to me is you're able to follow your impulses without second guessing or fear of judgment. And so there's a variety of exercises that strengthen your mind-body connection from a performance lens and from, I'm sure people listening can relate to, I'm sure, you're at home and you're like, oh yeah, I've heard mind-body connection in another area, another field, right? But to me, that means doing exercises like improv, like Dr. Matt's saying, that are helping you be comfortable with literally speaking out loud what's on your mind, right? Or moving your body, right? I know this is a podcast and not a visual medium necessarily, but if I'm noticing that people are talking and they're closed body posture and they're not fully acknowledging or honoring that impulse to move, I can name that, just because that's the same thing a director does with an actor, right? It's like, oh, when we're blocking a scene, blocking meaning setting movement to a scene on stage, it's like, wow, I notice, in my directors I like to work with, that shape the actor's natural impulse and don't just come in with their own hard ideas. It's like, hey, I noticed you have the impulse to move there. Tell me why. And then it's like, oh, well, we're really attacking on this line, and it feels like I felt like I needed to like, show that physically or whatever. I'm making it up. But then I'm like, okay, great, follow that impulse. And like that's stuff we learn to do as actors, follow your impulse, right? And so there are a variety of one-on-one versions of those that I've adapted, activities and exercises adapted to do with clients. That's just a small example. Same thing with active listening, strengthening active listening, right? It's like, I know that Dr. Matt is so gracefully listening to you right now because of the way that he's nodding his head, and Jake's like facial expressions or smiles that's like letting me feel seen and heard. And a lot of people I'm noticing who say they're going to be a podcast host, or I have clients who are not necessarily working on a specific event that they're preparing for, but just in general, a lack of confidence. It's like, well, just bringing awareness to things. Oh, I'm observing that like when we're doing this exercise, you aren't moving, right? And I'm making the assumption as your quote unquote scene partner that you're not engaged in what I'm saying. They're like, wow, that's not the case at all. And I'm like, well, here's why I'm receiving that way, right? And so we can make it clearer how to make others feel seen and heard, right? And again, I'm not saying that we're not going to this rule book with public speaking. Nod your head, and that means you are listening, right? No. What's your version of that, right? Like, what do you like when people do for you? How do you feel seen and heard? And then can you layer that on? It's all about, when you said Shakespeare, it reminded me of like, that's very stylized, which is so true. It's like, I can't access that for myself. And that might be how other people feel when they read a one-size-fits-all public speaking book of like, well, that doesn't feel true to me. I feel like I'm playing a character and not in a good way, right? In a fake way. And we want to play a character of ourselves in a truthful way, right? It's like an elevated version of the authentic you.
Oh man, we just got our tagline for this episode.
Ooh. It really
right? Elevated version of the authentic you. I mean, slap it on some bumper stickers, Claire. You've got your merch drop right now.
Oh man, the pressure.
There's no pressure here. This is an idea lab. We're incubating, right? I mean,
oh man, yes.
There are no bad ideas. So in connecting this back to this idea of neurodivergence, right? I remember when we were going through our prep period for Up and Away, me trying to set expectations for the actors. I was like, when we're doing, whether it's stand-up or improv or spoken word or a classic play or a musical, the audience is engaging because they're leaning forward in their seats and they're looking at you, and you feel that connection as an actor or a performer. And I was like, but in the autistic community in particular, engagement doesn't always look like that. When I'm speaking at these, neurodivergent conferences, I've got people knitting, I've got people laying on the ground, I've got people doodling. And there was a time where that used to bother me. I was like, oh, I'm not getting them. I haven't hooked them. But then you realize as a speaker that your words are part of the message and the audience is the second part of that message, right? How they receive it. Are you putting that out there in a way that can be accessed in multiple different ways? And are we mature and comfortable enough as the performer to take that, to hold that space? And I can't remember his name now, but one of the actors he asked a lot of questions about that. And at first I thought like, okay, like traditional alpha male actor, like lead, we get it, bro. Were you Danny Zuko in high school? You were? What? Holy crap. Then I realized he was looking for that door in. He's like, what's my role in this process? Because if they're not getting engaged with me in the way I'm used to being engaged with, how do I make sure that I'm still holding my end of the stick? And I thought that was a really powerful moment.
Yeah.
To see like the humility that comes with understanding the role we play in that. I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah. I mean, you provide so much insight by talking about that, because it's the notion of it's not if engaged, it's how they're engaged, right? So someone is engaged through knitting, right? And so not making those assumptions or like letting our egos get in the way. That's really powerful. just as a person, right? Like to hold space or be open to what your surroundings are and receiving what's being given to you and then reacting honestly and in the moment. Again, acting is reacting. And I say that till I'm blue in the face. And I feel like a parallel to the situation you're describing is, you're saying, well, as a speaker or as a performer, if my audience isn't reacting a specific way, then I feel like I have failed or I feel like I need to do more. And I think that instead, what's helpful is like, well, whatever's being given to me, then I just acknowledge it, right? I just react honestly to what's being given me. So in sensory theater work, that was a skill that I'm so blessed to have gotten to strengthen that skill, right? Because now I can walk into a large group, a workshop, and not tell myself all these stories about, oh, wow, no one thinks what I'm saying is interesting, or I need to do it. Just present and respond to what's being given to me in an honest way and stay grounded. But that doesn't mean that I'm putting up a blinders to what's in the room. It's not like, well, no matter however people respond, I'm just going to do what I'm doing anyways. It's like, no, adaptability, right? Thinking on your feet. That's another skill that we learn as performers, right? So it's that like sweet spot between reacting to what's being given to you, not making assumptions about what it means or placing like any necessary like emphasis on telling yourself a story about what it means, and then just yes-anding, moving forward,
See, improv is the solution to all things. We just yes-and it forever.
Though, Dr. Matt, yes, I feel like improv is totally the solution. And what I'm finding as I'm trying to revisit bringing performance-based communication coaching into certain environments, specifically like the corporate world, is there's such a stigma about what that means. And I think it's because it's been done in such a way that is like cheesy and on the nose and like checking a box. Like someone's going to bring in one person one time to play a couple games and everyone's like, wow, I acted so silly. That means that my company is creative in the workplace. And I'm like, no, there's like so much depth and value into what we could be making of this. And I'm trying to change the game in that way. I'm trying to educate people otherwise on what it looks like for me to come into their team or workspace, because I think they think I'm going to play an icebreaker game with them. And I personally, if I was in that space and someone played an icebreaker with me, would feel stressed. So that is not the case.
I hate icebreakers across the board.
Yeah. Even actors don't like icebreakers, gang.
Exactly.
So listening to this, do not book them for your team meeting.
Yeah.
Claire instead.
Anytime there's ever an icebreaker, it's just, there's like 10, 15 minutes that's just gone.
Well, you know why? But it's also because like we're joking about it, but it's also like so real that it's like, wow, no one knows what the answer is to like bringing creativity or creative thinking or thinking outside the box into the workplace. So they Google, how to be creative and whatever comes up. And then they're like, it feels like a waste of time to the people in the space because there's no intention or thought behind it or practicality. Yeah. And I'm all for doing things. Oh, something I didn't even talk about yet that we could get into if you want is like the play aspect of my work. I just reminded me because I said there's no practicality. I'm trying to hold myself accountable. Somewhere along the line, actually, I want you guys to speak on this as your own professional selves. I'm so intrigued. I'm fascinated with the idea of play over productivity. So at what point in our growth as a human do we stop playing and only focus on being productive? And in my creative work, I've tried to push against that. Like I've just tried to make artistic spaces for people to come and play without learning any life lessons or learning a new skill. Because also as a teaching artist going into classrooms, I'm noticing how exhausting it is for individuals to just be like, okay, learn to tie your shoes and now the alphabet and now, and I'm generalizing, but it's like, it is exhausting to be a student. It is exhausting to be an educator. I have so much empathy and compassion for all parties. And it's like, wow, as a creator, I really just wanted to make spaces for people to come and have fun just because it's fun and that's it. Or play because it has a lot of benefits, but we don't have to talk about it. We can just do it and enjoy our time together as people, you know? So anyways, yeah, I'm fascinated by what you think about play and productivity and how they relate, or when we stop valuing play as a society.
I can take this first if you want, Dr. Matt.
You look like you're gonna leap through the screen. So by all means, Jake.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is, I mean, honestly, like play is central to like my entire teaching method. Is even like for me,
Tell me.
the play that goes into it, like I'm a heavy discussion and like project oriented teacher. So the discussions we have are always like heavy and like philosophically based, but also really playful. So we'll like compare, I don't know, Minecraft to like existentialism continuously. And like the kids that we're talking with are really engaged because we're joking about Minecraft, but they're also learning about things like existentialism and like playing in that realm. And at least every single marking period or unit, semester, what have you, I would bring in at least one like bigger board game that we would play as a class for like 2-3 days, whatnot. Shout out especially to Thorny Games. They're one of my favorites because they made a game called Dialect, which is all about like building a language together and you build a story together. Did that with like an oral storytelling unit for a classroom, and it was incredible.
Wow.
I don't think there's really an age where play should go away.
No, I agree.
My grandmother, both of them, one lived to 102 and the other one was 99, and till the day she died, my 99-year-old grandmother, she was still telling like the dirtiest comedian jokes and like playing with everybody, making sarcastic comments and like acting like a child her entire life in the best way.
Yeah, no, I agree. It just is so hard. It's so I had this like moment of enlightenment. I was in a yoga class and the instructor was saying, you know, oh, this time you don't have to do the pose perfectly. I want you to like find your own rhythm and be playful and let your body move. And everyone's like looking around each other, you know, everyone closed, but you know, it's so incredibly uncomfortable. And that all relates to being comfortable in our body and our voice, being comfortable with being authentic, you know? And so I was like, I need to do something about this, because why? I take for granted how much play is a part of my life and my career, just as someone who works in the arts and is surrounded by other creative people. But still, I always say I am a recovering productivity addict. So this is all for myself just as much, you know, because I tried to do so much and got burnt out frequently. So anyway, Dr. Matt.
Do you like how she subtly flipped the podcast and now she's interviewing us?
Oh my gosh, I didn't mean to.
I'm here for it. It's fine.
No, I just genuinely want to hear from you because I value what you have to say.
And it's brilliant because the best podcasts turn into a conversation. Like I've been on over 100 and the worst ones feel like you're being interrogated.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? And it's like, this is fun. I'm enjoying this. I've had to testify in court a few times. It is the worst experience. But, you know, like this is like, that question clearly came from a place of authentic engagement. Like, well, what is that like for you guys who have similar, though different jobs? So I can tell you when play goes away. So somewhere between 5th and 7th grade, when school moves from elementary to middle, play drastically decreases. That's when we stop seeing recess as a thing. Schools now are saying you can opt out of art and music to take an extra study hall. And that, yeah, that's the face, Claire, that's the face.
Is that real?
Oh, it's very real. And in these high achieving districts, because
stress. It should be, everyone needs to take an extra. Everyone needs to take an extra art or music class.
Yeah, because you're not using that study hall to do yoga. You're not using that study hall to take care of yourself. You're taking AP Chem in 7th grade.
Got to get the college credit early.
Oh, yeah, right? Obviously.
Productive.
Or else.
If you didn't get your AP Chem credit yet in 8th grade, you're already behind.
How are you going to get into Carbondale Valley Community College? You'll never do it. And it's just like, everybody just calm down. You know, working with a lot of smart, ambitious kids, I'm like, fun is everything. If you're getting a summer job, I would rather you babysit so you can finger paint and play silly board games with a couple of ragamuffins than like, I'm interning at this law firm. I'm going to make copies because like, yes, that looks better on the resume, I guess, but like it doesn't feed your soul as a person. And like we're all veterans of the food service industry. That did more for me as a person than any white collar internship I ever had.
Oh yeah, should be a requirement for all humans.
A requirement for humans. Yes.
First acting class, then waitress, server. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. Absolutely. And also you should also be ushers in your local theater because God knows they need them.
Now we're advocates for the nonprofit sector. Yeah.
There we go. See, we're just checking all the boxes today. And one of the gifts that this podcast has become for me is that it's a way of adding joy and play into my professional life.
Mm.
This is fun. I love doing this. I loved being on podcasts and I love hosting one. And like, yes, could I see a client right now? Sure. Would I make more money seeing a client than I would be talking to you? Yes. But there is value to that is not measured in dollars and cents. There's value in amplifying each other's brands, and there's value in talking to two people I love and respect a great deal that I'm like, let's just be awesome together for an hour. Right. And then we get to put that awesomeness out there that other people get to listen to it. And it's like they're in the room with us. I mean, that's a gift. And joy of living is often manifested in the gifts we give others.
Ooh. I wasn't planning on crying, but if you know me, that's not far off. It's very high chance I'm gonna cry in any given situation that's positive. So I'm not crying, if you're wondering, but that was powerful.
Maybe a little, right? No, I mean, I don't know. Jake, I think I've cried in like at least a third of the episodes at this point. Like it's just
probably, yeah. In a good way.
Yeah, we do emotional work. This is the worst interview ever.
Could you imagine?
Just torturing yourself through this, crying in every episode.
Yeah. And so I'm the person who pushes back with these kids and say, bring more joy. Like you need your art classes, you need your theater classes. I fought tooth and nail to be able to do choir in high school because there wasn't room in my schedule. And I was like, I can do physics lab on Monday and do choir Tuesday through Friday. And as long as the choir teacher's okay with me missing a class, I can do 5 days worth of choir in 4 days because it's choir, right? And they were like, but wouldn't you like to spend that time taking a class that's going to help you get into college? I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be all right. And
you're good at time blocking then and now, it seems.
And the advocacy that comes from that, from a place of this matters to me. So I'm planting my flag and I'm saying, no, like this is the thing I'm going to do. And I think that acting is reacting, and not just when things go well. Sometimes people miss a line. Sometimes people, sometimes your equipment fails. I've been in a improv show where a guy tripped over a stage block and cracked his ankle. And we were like, is he? Oh, no, he's not acting. He's actually injured. And it's like, what do you do? Because the only thing that we can really anticipate happening are things unexpected, right? And that's what this is really fundamentally all about, I think.
Yeah, definitely. In that moment where someone, right, is falling and injured on stage, for example, like if you're worried about doing something perfectly, and that's your measure of success, then, you might think, oh, wow, the audience thinks that show sucked, or like everyone's like, oh man, we failed because something went wrong during the production. And it's actually, if you are thinking of it from a place of truth, it's kind of the opposite, where it's like, wow, everyone's on this journey together. That's the beauty around theater, right? It's like we are all sitting in or even going to a movie or watching Netflix. It's like we're all in a space together watching a story be told. And so typically the audience is pretty graceful and is willing to be like, go with you on that journey. And so I guarantee everyone who saw that show is just like, wow, hope that person's okay. And also awesome show. It wasn't like, oh, well, something human happened, so everything's ruined. It's actually way better when don't want him to get injured, but it's interesting to watch humans be human. That is why we want truth and not it to be pretend, you know.
Back to that authenticity a little bit.
Mhm.
Well, and when you said you were a recovering productivity person, I was like, is she going to say perfectionist? Because like perfection is the dark storm cloud hanging over this conversation, right? Now you have to do it. You better do it well, or else. Or
Mm.
else what, man? Like it is so much better to do than never have done. And I think that every time we podcast, every time we teach a class, take a class, do something, we are adding value to the world, even if that thing isn't perfect, because it's never perfect.
Yeah.
It'd be boring if it was perfect.
Oh, it would be so boring. I don't thinking about perfectionism as far as like with my clients, I always say no one wants to watch you be polished because if I need to explain it to you from a perspective of, you know, increasing your sales or productivity, here we go again in the workplace, it's like, well, you know, people want to buy from people that they know, like, and trust. And if you're really polished and not really showing any authenticity or realness, or I don't want to say flaws, but just like any moments of where someone's able to connect with you, then you're not going to achieve that. You know, some people want to hear about what they can benefit from a communication coach as it relates to, you know, oh, increasing my sales or something like that at first, and then they're along for the ride. But yeah, I forget what I was gonna. Oh, I don't think I am necessarily a perfectionist, which phew, because I got a lot of other, you know, I'm anxious, I'm a lot of things, but I don't know about perfectionist. And I think that's the reason that I'm still standing as a freelance multi-hyphenate artist person is because I love it so much. I love being an actor. I love being an educator. I love working with other people. I don't know if I would have made it if I was a perfectionist because you have to be okay with rejection and failure all the time. Literally every time you send in an audition, every single week. I don't even think about it anymore. That's how comfortable with rejection I am. And also, it's a level of like lack of stability or judgment of what people think of my career and my path, where it's like, you know, not traditional. So there's assumptions or criticisms that could come with that. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know if I'm perfectionist.
Well, we're lucky that you've overcome whatever you've overcome with to get here. That's what,
Like I said, you know,
yeah, right.
lots of stuff, therapy, all of it. It's great. But perfectionist, I think I skipped.
Good. We're like that. So we could obviously talk about this stuff forever. As with all good podcast episodes, the time is coming to an end very shortly. So we're going to have to move into our final wrap-up questions. But Claire, I'm going to bury the lead here for a second. Ask, like, will you come back and talk to us more about this? Because I feel like we talked a lot about the process. We didn't even get into the nuts and bolts. Like, I think like that's what people want to hear. Because everyone out there who's like, excuse me, I would be more comfortable dying than I would be doing speaking. So could I help with Claire do that help words? Yes. So we'll put that on the books for the future. But Jake and I always end our episodes. We each ask you a question, and then we'll give you an opportunity to send a little parting advice to the audience.
Okay.
So my question is, if you could have any superhero on speed dial, who would it be and why?
Oh, wow. These are the questions that really matter.
Journalism.
I would say, I feel like I'm going to be disappointing all of the true superhero fans out there because I'm not going to have a strong answer as it relates to like the culture. I feel like I'm disrespecting the superhero fandom culture. Let me think. I would say it would be okay. Okay, candidly speaking, Spider-Man is my favorite superhero movies to watch because I would want the powers that Spider-Man has. I'm sorry, it's so lame, Dr. Matt. I don't have a good response.
Which Spider-Man movies, though?
Oh no. See, you can't. I'm not the person.
You can't just say Spider-Man movies.
I need someone to coach me through this because this is where I feel like okay, I'm performing as someone else. I don't know.
There are no bad answers here, right? Somebody said their mom the other day, and I was like, your mom? The sweetest answer ever.
Okay, ask me again and then.
All right. So, Claire, if you could have any superhero on speed dial, who would it be?
Mm, this is a great question. I think it would have to be my mom. I'm sorry. If I could have any superhero on speed dial, it would be my grandma who has passed away because I feel like her perspective on the world was so pure. And I know she's not a superhero in the traditional sense, but she's a superhero to me. And that anytime I think about her and how she lived out her life, it makes me feel like everything's going to be okay. And oftentimes, especially in the world of late, I feel like I need that a constant reminder that everything's going to be okay. And that is a superpower because especially for someone with anxiety like me. So, yeah, the power that everything's going to be okay because it will. And if it's not, get through it. That was stressful. That was a stressful question for me. Sorry for the dramatics.
Dramatics from you, Claire? I'm shocked.
Hey, now.
Isn't that exactly what we've been talking about? That was a non-traditional answer sent through the lens of your own personal authenticity. You could have been like Spider-Man because of whoop, whoop, whoop. It was a great answer. It was very authentic, even if it was unexpected. And that's a good thing.
Thank you.
All right, Jake, good luck.
Thanks.
You're like, Claire, come back.
No, you're good. My question for you is, what's your favorite word and why?
Thank you so much for asking. I have a favorite word that's tattooed onto my body because it's my favorite word. My favorite word is Meraki. First of all, I love words that don't have one direct, like a one-to-one correlation in English. So it's like describing an essence or you're with me. So my favorite word is Meraki. It's Greek and it means to do something with creativity, passion, and love, and to put a piece of yourself into your work. And so that is like how I try to live my life, is with that in mind. When I heard the word, I was like, wow, I didn't know that anyone else understood that. Like that is me. So yeah.
That's a perfect answer, honestly.
Jesus. Like, there are no words that may rocky. Did I get it right?
Yeah, Meraki. Sorry for anyone who's like, that's not how you say that. That's how I think it's said. So doing my best.
Well, we'll just direct all the comments to you.
Oh no.
No, we don't get those kind of comments. Well, I think we should all try and bring some Meraki into our own lives because that's a spectacular thing to wrap up on. Claire, is there anything you want to send our listeners home with?
Including where they can find you.
Oh, yeah. Well, first, I just want to say that showing up as yourself is enough. And I just hope, my hope for everyone in the world is that we can let go of what other people expect of us or behave in a way that we think is cool or correct, and being cool is overrated. So I just hope that people feel free to be themselves. It truly is freedom. And you can find me, thanks for asking, on Instagram at Powerplay with Claire. And that's that. Send me a DM. My DMs are open for all friendly discussion. And if you wanna connect further, let's work together. Let's play.
Let's play, right? That's awesome. Well, then I would say, everyone, this is a skill set that we need, but more importantly, I think it's a way of seeing the world that we need, because as Claire alluded to, there's some darkness in the world right now, and we can't just double down on working harder and building barriers. Like, the most revolutionary thing we can do right now is have fun, right? And we don't lose the joy in our own lives, and more importantly, we don't lose the joy in our work. I mean, that's why we hope you keep listening to this podcast. That's why we hope that you keep coming to our talks and sending us funny reels and doing all the things you do, because joy is contagious and joy will save us all. So that's a pretty wonderful thing. So for all of us here at Nerding Out at Neurodiversity, including our fabulous guest, Claire, thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing your story and your journey. Take that information with you, friends. Use it in your own lives. Use it to have more fun, have more smiles, and Until we see you again, I'm Dr. Matt Zakreski. Thank you for your time. Jake, anything you want to say? Any parting words of wisdom?
Parting words of wisdom. I'm going to echo Claire and just say, go have fun, go play. Go do things that you enjoy, honestly.
Fun is good.
Fun is good.
Yes, nailed it. Nerding Out on Neurodiversity is brought to you by Dr. Matt Zakreski and the team at the Neurodiversity Collective. To learn more about the Neurodiversity Collective or to be a guest on the podcast, please visit our website at www.theneurodversitycollective.com/podcast. Audio and production by Jake Noonan. Show your support by subscribing, leaving a 5-star review, and telling your friends about us. Our Instagram and social media handles are at #NoonPodcast, NOON podcast. Your support is appreciated and keeps us going. All discussions presented on this podcast are strictly for informational purposes, awareness, and understanding. The advice presented is not and should not be considered to be therapeutic in nature. If you have any mental health questions, please contact your provider. All rights reserved.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.